What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Sports with Warbs. We just saw a big Canadian division matchup, Game 7. The Habs managed to pull it off. They got the win. This game was an interesting one. I mean, it was a wild game. I wouldn't say it was boring. I mean, there's some stuff we got to get through. I got Ben here. He's one of my best buddies, and he's a Leafs fan, so figured I'd bring him in to give you the content so I wouldn't just sit here and rip on the Leafs the whole time. Ben, how are you feeling? This is like 10 minutes after the game. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've gotten better at these like disappointing games, like Game 7 losses. I mean, I had some time to digest in the third there, like 2-0 the whole time. So it's not like an OT loss. Like,
yeah, true.
I'm feeling a bit better than I have in the past, you know?
Yeah, I know it isn't. You're right. That's actually a good point. I hadn't really thought about it. I kind of had that same feeling going into Game 4. I mean, it was like a different situation with the Oilers where we blew it in Game 3. So by Game 4, I had a bit of a calming feeling, just like, okay, how do we move forward from this and look into next year? And I feel like you kind of just said you had that for the third period at least.
Yeah, even Game 5 and 6 there, it's like it's an OT loss. It's so sudden, it's hard to get over. But Game 7 was for some reason easier.
Dude, that Game 6 Kotkaniemi goal is like you're gonna see that one in your nightmares with how good they were playing that overtime period. But we're not here to talk about this. We're here to talk about Game 7. This is the first time Montreal and the Leafs have played in the Game 7 since 1964, a couple of years before the Leafs' last Cup win. First period, good pace to start. You probably feeling all right about the Leafs. You know, they had a good, they were pushing. I mean, the Leafs, I wouldn't even say they played a bad game, dude. They ran into Carey Price. They showed his stats, dude.
Yeah, no, Carey Price, you got to give him credit there. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's the reason that Montreal won, but it's a big part of it. I mean,
yeah,
it's a typical first period for a Game 7, just tight checking. Not much really happened offense wise, but it was a good period for the Leafs overall, I felt.
Yeah, I mean, it was right. Like they kind of got out to it. I was surprised. I just like come back into their room for that that Gallagher goal, and like I was kind of like, whoa, like I was definitely expecting the Leafs to make to get that first goal, but like, dude, Price was just looking hot. I mean, what were you feeling? Yeah, so like, what were you feeling there? Like, are you feeling like okay about it? How are you feeling that first intermission?
I mean, I was feeling good going into the second. Not great. I mean, there isn't much offense either way. The Gallagher goal there, it was a weak goal for Campbell.
Dude, I know. I literally have here on my little notepad Gallagher week 1, dude. Campbell, man. You got to make that save.
It's been uncharacteristic of him in the playoffs, but I mean, like, it's gonna happen. You're against Carey Price. You're not gonna be able to outplay him realistically, like Jack Campbell versus Carey Price.
Yeah, I know. That's a good point. And I mean, like, it was like he lets in that weak one, but it's not like he let in 3 in the first period. It took you guys out of it. It was like, it was there for taking. So one thing I noticed pretty early, I had to write this down. This is what made me grab the notepad and start writing shit down. Was they put together the Marner, Matthews, and Nylander. So obviously the Oilers run into the problems of having Draisaitl and McDavid, and they just put them together, and then they kind of like, all right, what are you going to do the rest of the lineup? How are you feeling about that, dude? You're absolutely Nylander had a great playoffs. I mean, everyone knows that. But you're stacking that first lineup, and you're kind of line blendering it like a period into the Game 7. What are you thinking there, dude?
That's the thing. Like, it's kind of concerning, especially with Tavares out of the lineup. Like, you don't have anything left on that second line there. I mean,
no.
Nylander's been great in the playoffs with Kerfoot and Galchenyuk. Like, I haven't seen them like play a better 6 game span other than the playoffs here today. So
yeah,
it's tough.
I mean,
and Marner hasn't been doing much. Like, Matthews hasn't been playing bad, but he hasn't. He's one goal in 7 games.
So. Let's just talk about them right now, dude. You were sending some text messages to the group chat. I want to hear just a little rage or something about Marner, man.
Marner, man. Anytime he touched the puck, he just seemed to fall to his knees. Like, it's just like the puck was not staying on his stick. Like he just lost it every time he got it. Like I love Marner as a player, but like it's
Do
just
you
been
think?
so disappointing in these playoffs to see him just play so badly. Like, and it's funny because he got 4 assists in the whole like in 7 games, which isn't terrible, but like I
Yeah.
think 1 or 2 were on the power play. Like,
Yeah.
just was not a good showing, and it's so disappointing to see. Like,
Dude, I know. And like every time they show him, man, he looked so sad.
oh,
Like
he looked scared. He looked scared. And like
scared.
when he took
Yeah.
that penalty in his last game, game 6, over
Yeah.
the boards
Oh,
there, like, he was just in the box, like biting his lip, like he didn't know what to do. He's
I
like,
know.
it was the definition of a choke. Like I love him. I hate to say it, but like,
I know, dude. Sometimes we gotta get out there. We gotta rip the guys, man. Like
yeah,
I said it last week. My most popular video by far I uploaded when the Oilers lost. They choked that game, and I said, and like it's just there's leadership, and these guys and Matthews and Marner gotta be. They gotta be the leaders. They're the two best players. It's just like McDavid and Draisaitl. But then it's like you gotta say like there's gotta be moments where you don't look like you're gonna fold, and I guess they kind of. I think that's just something he's gonna learn. I mean, he's still young, obviously. There's always next year for us, but I mean, Marner and Matthews, they gotta be better.
I mean, that's the
Dude.
thing. Like, you can say like there's always next year. It's just like for the Leafs right now, and for Leafs fans, it's just such like a mental barrier to get past that first round.
Yeah.
Like look at Boston. Like they're dominating right now. Like the Pastrnak, Bergeron. Like Bergeron's what 31. Like Marchand's getting in his late 20s. Like they're old.
They've got no mental barrier like my Oilers
Exactly.
and your Leafs. Like it is not even. It's a totally another level.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and that's a good point you bring up, dude. It's like when the Oilers were blue like the first game when they played bad and the second game when they played bad. Like I was just like, we have mental barriers with our teams, but kind of in different fashions. I'd like to think the Oilers, like I said, when they lost those first 2 games and they're down 2-0, you're like, okay, they got the most fans who don't watch every game and haven't been through what like the Oilers fans have been through, and are thinking, okay, they got it's only 2-0. They got 2 of the best players. They're gonna come back. But us who know are like they haven't played good in the playoffs, and there's no reason to believe they will play good in the playoffs, and then they don't, and then they get swept, and then it's like the most predictable thing as a fan. The Leafs, on the other hand, put up good games, dude. I watched we were on the road. I watched that game. What I don't know if they won 4-0 or what, where Campbell got the shutout, but like they looked great. So they don't blow like the early games. They just let it go too far and then like get in their own head or something. So like what are you thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. Like even in the previous series, like with Boston the last couple of years, Washington, Columbus, like with the exception of Columbus last year, they've been the underdog pretty much every year, right? Like lower seed. Like it hasn't been a huge breakdown like this year was, kind of like they're down. I think most of those series they're at least down like 2 games against Boston. They might have been up against Washington, but
they were definitely counted out against the Caps. Like no one really expected them to win that series, so you could get over that one a little easier. But
I mean, 5 of those 6 games? Yeah, it was 6 games against Washington. 5 of them went to OT. Like that was why that one was tough. But like,
oh man,
it's just it's the same thing over and over.
Yeah. So I guess moving on, still talking about this game. Off the leg of Perry. I mean, they call him Scory Perry. I hate him. Obviously, he played in Anaheim against the Oilers for a while. Now he's playing in the Habs. He scored a goal last game, didn't he? And then the one tonight. What were you think? Like at that point, what are you thinking? Like, I mean, you gotta get one back to pull it to 2-1. But I mean, one like that where it just like it's hard to kind of blame like a little tip like that on the goalie. But it's also like, who else are you supposed to blame? Like, I mean, no one was really out of position. Like, it's just.
That's the thing. And like, I think like Perry, like, I don't really like him either, but he's a playoff player and Leafs don't have money.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean.
That's the difference, right? Like, the veteran, like, Spezza and Thornton are veterans too, but like they don't have cups.
You're right. That's a good point. You bring in that presence. It's hard to be mad if he gets like 2 great like greasy goals that they need to win, and the Habs need those goals to win, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And
me and you.
if they get two like that, 2-3 goals for the Habs, like they have carried Price. Like they don't
exactly.
have much to worry about. Like
yeah, I mean, me and you aren't going to sit here and judge the Jets and the Habs because they just beat our number 1 and 2 teams from the regular season. But I mean, the Habs need goals like that. Like, they got Caulfield. I mean, Caulfield looks good, but still.
I say they're safe once they get up 2-3 goals. I mean, with the exception of Game 5 and Game 6, obviously, but I think they just kind of learned how to like go into a defensive shell without kind of like completely going like collapsing.
All right. So, I mean, to wrap up this game and the video, I mean, pulled goalie with 3 minutes left. I hate that move just because like we saw it. It was 2-0. Then it was 3-1. It was 3-0, and then it was 3-1 right away. So it kind of like, I don't want to say it bit them because it's revisionist history, but I mean, what do you think of that move, man? That early pull?
Yeah, I'm not a fan. Like, I mean, 2 goals though, 3 minutes. Like it's pretty fair. I think the max amount of time you want to let for 1 goal, if they have a 1 goal lead, is like probably 2 minutes. So I think
true.
Fair. Like they had 2 goals to get. They weren't showing much offense all game. So I mean, I was headed to bed after they got the empty netter, and then Nylander just kind of got a cheeky little goal there. Of course, it's Nylander. I don't know.
Dude, I mean, at least you got one bright spot out of this shit, man. He looked good. He looked really good.
Yeah,
you don't need to worry about him next year in the playoffs. You got to worry about your 2 other guys, and you got to. I mean, obviously, having Tavares and being able to split those 2 lines would be huge for you guys, but. It's the playoffs. I feel like I haven't actually seen Leafs fans blame it on Tavares or Muzzin going out too bad because I think we all kind of understand that's just how the playoffs work. Like you lose guys every time
without them. Like
but I mean your captain going down in the first periods, obviously that's bad. But they had chances to win, and they showed they could win without him. Obviously, in that 4-0 game or whatever it was when they like dominated the Habs. So I mean, you can't fall out too bad. I mean, and the last note's Price played good. I think we touched on it a lot, that point. But any final thoughts, as we head into the off season? Maybe I'll get you on for another like Leafs off season video. Me and you will get in there.
I just like, I'm kind of trying to think of who would be a good call to get rid of to get a solid goaltender after watching Price that game. Like,
dude. I was getting texts from my Leafs fans saying like we're keeping Campbell for next year, but that was when they were up 3-1.
It's not going to be an option.
Man, I got my I guess I can get into it because I probably won't talk about it again, but you're putting a lot of faith. I know we played good in the regular season, but you're putting a lot of faith in the AHL. It's not like he's like a prospect. Like he's an AHL goalie who got hot. I mean, you watch a lot more Leafs than I did. Do you think he's like an actual option for them for next year? No, like
I think if you had a solid second tandem goalie, maybe. But I don't think he's someone you can kind of ride on the whole season. Like
he isn't starting 60.
There's going to be an end to it at some point. Like he played real. Like I got to give him credit. Like it was awesome. And it came in at the perfect time when Freddie was struggling. But
true. What he did this year was special, but it's just like, I think this is kind of like a reality check for a little bit.
To think he can again. Like
and Anderson, is he gone?
I think so. I mean, I've seen, I don't know who's gonna go for him. Maybe Hyman, maybe Nylander. I hope not after the playoffs, but you never know.
No.
He's been a name that they've thrown out there. So
okay. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I know it's not easy to get on here after a game. Like you said, you're able to kind of, you're used to it at this point like I am, but it still stings. But I'm sure the fans will appreciate a little, you bring a calming presence, like you're not freaking out. You're giving your opinion. It's good. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's good to
be on. Yes, man. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks everyone for watching. I don't know what's really next. I'll probably try to get some other guys in here. I'll do some more like post series, some more videos, some instant reactions. The fan instant reactions I think are pretty fun. And then in the off season, I'll probably get some teams up and we'll kind of talk about off season moves, the draft. But for today, thanks everyone for watching, And I'll talk to you later. Thank you, Ben. And peace.
Thanks for having me.
Do just what you're told. I'll be